Hello, all you archaeologists. I'm the Johnstruct. Welcome to the proximity. Listening to this prelude with the arpeggio, the famous Final Fantasy arpeggio, and it's going to be a little bit of a nightmare to like have to come up with a new one of those every single time, especially since Final Fantasy 14's got like 4 different variations. I appreciate that it is just an arpeggio in a chord, but like, and you only need that first one, right? You can do different sets of chords, but still, I feel like it's probably a bit of a challenge. But yes, welcome to the proximity. Welcome to my Final Fantasy 16 adventure. I hope I said that, and I hope that I said I'm Johnstruct. I imagine I did, but you know, there's no harm in saying it twice. Let's load our game. Yeah, well, I mean, I'll be on for like 6 hours or so, hopefully. Well, thank you for joining me briefly. Good luck with the gym. But, yeah, I'm not very good at planning my time, I'm afraid, so I can't tell you when exactly I'll end this stream and when exactly I'll start another one. But I'll probably be... Yeah, I will be on... Okay, yeah.
What do you suppose it could be?
Let's visit Sid's solar.
Don't mind me. Just taking a quick breather.
Don't mind me, yeah. Jill.
We can keep running. Or we can walk through this door.
Keep running! Ah! Alright, fine. Also,
this place is getting more crowded by the day.
It's like going in...
The bustle's a blessing. There'll be time enough for quiet contemplation when I'm dead.
It's like meeting Gideon. Oh, hello, Phoenix. Gonna roll over, knock all over all your furniture.
Answers you were looking for?
I had a metaphorical boss fight.
I still don't know what to make of this.
Howdy.
Gift. Curse.
It's a glove.
Or whatever it is I've been given. But there is one thing I can say for certain. I am a dominant. Ifrit. And there is nothing I can do to change that. It is a burden I must bear until my dying day.
Spoken true. Forgiveness and in turn salvation can only begin with acceptance. It's a path we all must walk, no matter how colourful our histories.
Sid, you once told me that you wanted to build a place where people could die on their own terms.
I did.
I've been thinking about that. Why not a place where people can live on their own terms?
My God!
For 13 years, killing was all I knew. So obsessed with death that I never stopped to consider the lives of those around me. Lives that I see now were scarcely worth living. Be they bearers or beggars, most march blindly to their end, never realizing that they too deserve a choice. And I dare not turn a blind eye to their suffering any longer.
So, atonement then, is it?
That was the answer we found.
The only one we need.
Also, we found some robots.
I'll be expecting you both to pull your weight.
And we will.
Well then, with a sprinkle of fire and ice, this plan of mine might just work.
This is the prelude, isn't it?
Looking to get yourself into now.
The best kind. We're going to sneak into the Imperial capital and pay a visit to Mother.
It's Oriflamme, the Holy Empire of Sambrique. The Council of Elders, the White Worm Lair.
And the last of our farmholds in the eastern provinces has succumbed to the blight.
Without them,
And so I said, that's not where I keep my hedgehog.
before winter.
If there is a capital by then, the black creeps closer as we speak.
And yet you do naught but bawl and bluster.
Your Radiance?
If it is fertile land the Empire requires, we need but look south.
If you mean the crystalline Dominion's holdings, we are bound by mutual accord. Theirs is a neutral state whose borders we are sworn to respect.
Gentlemen, did we swear to see our people starve?
Well, I really do think that...
Oh, I do like starving myself.
The gates of Oriflamme buckle at the flood of those come seeking refuge from the Blight. If there is not grain enough to feed those within our walls, how, pray tell, will we feed those without?
There, put my flower away.
Setting your minds to riddles such as these. You lock horns with an enemy from across the sea, sending our soldiers to the slaughter in their thousands. The Empire bleeds, and you sit here prattling like crones in a tea house.
Gotta put the flower away.
And you fancy yourselves leaders of men.
But I kind of like being leader of man myself.
Naught without her citizens. We are but their servants. If their land is being wrested away, it is our duty to claim new lands for them.
Your Radiance! You cannot mean a war of conquest.
That is exactly what I mean.
My God, that's exactly what it means.
We expanded our dominion. This is the will of great Grieger.
Oh,
There will be uproar. Then we must find a way to distract the citizenry. But how much will that cost? And what of our legions? Shall we raise the furs?
Well, someone will have to contend with the Dalmex.
I will not keep you. You all have much to do.
so I didn't put a cushion on the bit I was sitting on. I wish I'd considered that before I sat down. Who the fuck put them on the edges? There was a silly place for them. Ah, my back.
Where is my son?
The Lord Prince is currently garrisoned at the Strait of Author. If it please you, I can send word requesting his immediate return to the Holy Capital.
That won't be necessary. Tell him instead to see to his wounds. Bahamut's strength will be needed again soon.
As you command.
I must have misheard. You mean to tell me that the mother crystals are the reason the world is dying? Are you mad?
I have been called that on occasion, but no, not today. We've all seen it firsthand.
I said this earlier.
Empty wastes where once were green meadows. Land drained so dry of its ether, not even the rats remained.
Why are you picking on
But
rats?
where was it all going? I spent years searching for an answer until I saw it standing right in front of me. There, in the self-same crystals we look to for their so-called blessing. All right, listen. Take this crystal. How does it allow us to conjure magics? Answer, by drawing ambient ether from the air. And where do these crystals come from?
That's easy. They're mined from the mother crystals.
They're one and the same. Although admittedly this here fits more easily in the pocket.
But
The mother crystals are massive, some as large as mountains.
So you see the problem. Imagine just how much ether can be drawn by something that size. As to where it's all going, mind, well, I can't know.
So it's the same plot as Final Fantasy VII, but instead of reactors, it's crystals.
The crystals are divine. Their ether a gift from the heavens. For centuries, nations have fought and fallen for want of that gift. If what you say is true, how did no one else see it?
Who says they didn't? Maybe the truth was inconvenient.
Maybe Al Gore made a movie about that.
Inconvenient to whom, exactly?
That's about climate change, but still.
The higher-ups, the gods themselves.
So now you want to do something about the crystals. And what? We're not helping bearers and dominants anymore.
I didn't say that. I made a promise and I intend to keep it. But if we continue down this path, there's only one fate that awaits the realm. And we can't very well set our people free if they're all lying dead in a blighted ditch. Not if we want to create a place where they can live on their own terms anyway. Sort of defeats the purpose. So, if we have to bring the old world crashing down in order to build us a new one, what say you? Are you with me?
I suppose it's about time I repaid your faith.
You could have just said aye. But it's nice to have you aboard all the same.
What have I got myself into? I'm going to need more than a few potions for this.
So yeah, in Final Fantasy VII, it was sort of a given that like the reactors were draining the ground of well, materia. Materia is made from the souls of people, and reactors take that soul and crystallize it into materia, thus killing the planet. This is sort of like it's taken away the soul thing, but it's, you know, it's still environmentalism. Insofar as the four mother crystals are essentially giant reactors, stealing all the natural resources of the planet. I do want to say, because obviously a lot of this game is about like environmentalism and is about slavery, hence his mark on there. And I mentioned this before as well, where there were no black people in this game. And I've been reading threads on it, and like people are like, well, there's people with slightly tan skin, like very much like if you look, there might be if you look really, but like no, there aren't. And it's, if you think of the accents, like what they've done, because people, they were saying, well, they didn't do that because what, do you make them the slaves? No, you just sprinkle them everywhere. Like it was really easy to solve. Like the fact that there's all these British accents going on, like there's a fucking Geordie walking up and down there, and they've not done what Xenoblade does and go, okay, all of the Celtic people come from here, and all of the English people come from here, and all the Americans come from... They've gone, everyone comes from everywhere, because they're all kind of yokel, they're all kind of local sounding. And of course, once we got to the Holy Empire, everyone speaks all pot. So we're now on essentially Star Wars rules, where like if you're evil, the more evil you are, the more British. But like, you just could have done that with like, yeah, it was such an easy thing to solve.
There's work enough here for 100. And not nearly enough able bodies to see it all done. The Hideaway is lucky to have you and Jill.
Don't mind me. Just taking a quick breather, and
People have also noticed because they said, "Oh, because it's based on Europe," and it's like it's clearly not Europe. It's we're more Middle Eastern, especially to the parts we haven't got to yet. But like, also it's flat. He's wearing fucking modern clothing. Like, there was no this is not a realistic game. There are magical crystals and giant fucking dragons. But I do like the smuggle though.
Well,
it's weird as he's a writer for Final Fantasy XIV, and there's loads in that game. You can make your own, but like, it's just this one particular game they decided not to do it. I guess I'll just make Flame Tongue, I guess. What am I currently using? Invictus.
Not bad, if I do say so myself. Anything else?
I have a big fire sword now. Anyway, I am enjoying the game, but it's a bit of a shame that... And I don't want to just completely ignore it.
You've lost a letter. Nothing too important, I hope.
Not just a letter. I lost everything. There's a hole in my damned pack, and fool that I am, I didn't bloody notice.
It can't be that bad, surely.
How could it be any worse? I'm a courier. I carry things. If I can't do my job right, then what am I good for? Nothing, that's what. I buggered it right up. That means no herbs for the infirmary, and no fresh meat for our cooking pots. Worst of all, that letter I lost? It was for Sid. A letter he's been waiting on for days.
Maybe if you retrace your steps.
I'd scour Storm from coast to coast if I could, but there are curse breakers in the field, counting on my arrival. No, I'll just have to own up to Otto and Sid. They're gonna skin me alive.
Fine. Tell me where to look.
Are you serious? Thank you.
It sounds like the hideaway could use those supplies. So, where should I start?
Gotan's bales, perhaps? I took a tumble in the bushes when I was passing through. There's a chance my pack might have caught on something. If you can find everything I dropped, you'll be doing us all a favor. And if you can find Sid's letter, you'll be saving my life.
If it's there, I'll find it.
Wonderful. Now, I have to run if I'm to make my next delivery in time. I trust you can find your way to Gotan's bales. Oh, and hurry, will you? Sid doesn't like to be kept waiting.
I'm sure he doesn't.
I've got a friend who I'm gonna just what's the word? I'm gonna talk shit about my friend. Oops.
As soon as I can.
She's about to buy a laptop for like $2,000, like between $1,000 and $2,000, and I'm like, that's so much money. Like, she showed me 3, and like I don't actually know enough to say which one's good or not. And I was just, because she likes laptops, and I just keep going, for 5 of those, you could have got the deposit for the place I'm about to buy. And like, what are you planning on playing with this? It's like, because I don't think she even plays AAA games. I'm like, trying to subtly and then less subtly discourage. But like, at the same time, if she wants a laptop, obviously I can't stop her. But, I'm just like, I don't think you're going to use the full weight of this i9 you're about to buy. And I like, you know, oh, see, have you seen the Steam Deck? Have you seen these little mini PCs? But I think it's happening. I've never spent £2,000 on a PC. I've got a lot of like wasteful stuff. I really have. Like, I bought the fucking Oculus Rift for 600 quid when it first came out, like day one, and I really didn't want it to be 600 quid. But like, that's not that. You know, I bought the PlayStation 5 and all, but like, I mean, my PC probably is if you add all the costs together, but I always spread them over time.
Barking at his lot earlier.
Is it just the one side quest?
Clive, was it? What do you suppose it could be?
It presumably will be future-proof.
Where are you, Randall?
Is everything all right?
Forgive me, young man. I was in a world of my own. I'm worried about my friend, you see. He left some time ago and hasn't returned. And you know what it's like out there for a bear on his own.
Why leave the safety of the hideaway?
For coin. Sad though it is, our need outweighs the risk.
Yes,
The
that's...
hideaway can't survive on goodwill alone. And though Karen does what she can, her coffers aren't bottomless. Wait, you were a soldier, were you not? In the Imperial Army?
I was.
Then might I ask a favour of you? I'm too old to be traipsing hither and yon. Will you go and find him for me?
That was what I was going to say is, like, she doesn't stream anything, and the only time I've ever, like, not been able to stream a game is VR Alex, which is a VR game that's got a lot of graphics going on, and that I experienced a little bit of slowdown. Although I've got a lot more RAM, I might try it out again, because I've got to be doing these 99 things. Although I hate to say it, and I know I'm letting everyone down, I may have to pause this because I'm moving house. And I really would have liked to somehow make that, and a part of me thinks I still could, but I may, I might put it on hold for a couple of weeks, and because it turns out 99 games is actually quite a lot to store on your computer all at once, because none of them are finished. Yeah, I'll do that, but
I'll do what I can.
So if I do, I'll stop in 10 days. I'll stop on day 49 and pause for a few weeks.
His name is Randall, and I suspect you'll find him in Lost Wing. He's been working for Quinton, the tavern keeper. He'll know something, I'm sure.
Yesterday's game was Final Fantasy 16.
Safe travels, my friend. And thank you again.
Today's game will be Fall Guys. Spoiler warning, because it's on my PlayStation, so I don't have to change the setup. Is it Fall Guys? The little chibi folk that do races. Once we fought my brother. He was a what is it called? Free for all, I think it's called now. I can't remember what it's called. Head quests. You can see the mother crystals there. Oh yeah, so when it showed this, it was playing the music from Final Fantasy 1, the prelude music that you get when you fix the bridge and you start the game. And of course we did recently fix a bridge, and then they burned down the village, which is classic classic RPG. Although, is this an RPG? I guess we're doing RPG side quests right now, but yeah. So a lot of this game is kind of weird.
Might have split while he was passing through the bales.
Because it's this weird weird combination of an RPG and like it's not an RPG still trying to pretend it's an RPG. It's a very pretty game though, yes.
Good. Looks like I'm in the right area.
More of the lost supplies.
I've noticed they've got a dedicated on Sony PlayStation website. They've got a dedicated Final Fantasy section now.
I doubt he could have fit much more in his pack. Still no sign of Sid's letter, though. We've come this far.
A little overdressed to be picking grapes, aren't you? Are you here for Master Quentin?
I'm looking for a letter someone dropped nearby. I don't suppose you've seen it.
I am also here for Master Quentin.
Sorry.
Well, if you do...
Wait, I did pass a dog with something in its mouth a little while back. Could have been a piece of paper. No idea if it was your letter, but you never know.
Which way did it go?
Towards Lost Wing? Seemed well looked after to me. Dare say someone there's been feeding it.
To the village, then.
What, paper? I'm glad I did this one first, then.
It's looking to be a fine harvest this year.
Lost Wing!
I call ya. Did Master Quentin summon ya?
The shad's all salted and smoked.
A whole day on the line and they're still not dry.
Doggo! I've got a dog myself.
We have our culprit. Sorry, boy. Someone's waiting for this. But he's waited long enough already.
Give him a pet.
Hopefully this will keep our courier out of trouble.
Let the dogs meet other dog. Dogs fucking love meeting other dogs. Okay. Oh, Jill's with us. Hello, Jill.
But what'll we do for supper?
But how did the grocer know his daughter had been stealing?
What can I interest you in today?
Gonna wring out all the RPG I can get out of this game. What did I buy recently that was well expensive? Fair enough. I have no idea what time it is for you right now. Gradually fills limit break gauge for 30 seconds. Oh, it's Lionheart. Of course it is Lionheart. It is said that one's own limits are made to be broken. Is it said that? But that doing so is easier said than done. Fortunately, there are ways of convincing the mind that such improbable feats are not only possible, but readily within reach, this tonic being one of them. So I bought something that was really expensive recently. I don't remember if I actually used it or not.
Keep fighting the good fight.
So I'll buy you some potions. You sell potions?
Ah, yes. I trust it's all here. You're always welcome here in Lost Wing.
Sun's setting fast. They'll all be back from the vineyards.
They'll all be back in the vineyards.
Ah, if it isn't Sid's young protege. To what do I owe the pleasure?
I'm looking for a bearer called Randall. I hear he's been coming to you for work. He was expected back at the hideaway some time ago. A friend of his asked me to check on him.
Randall, you say? The porter? Yes, I know him. And I can't say I'm surprised if he has been delayed. I gave him enough to do. Though, thinking about it, he should probably have been back by now.
I'll go and look for him. Where was he headed?
He was to meet an associate of mine to the south of here, on Lorbert's Pass. I do hope nothing's happened to him. Be sure to let me know, Clive.
Can I have another cup, Daddy?
How many have I had?
Actually, that's a little too far away, but we'll get there. No, I think we have to cross the bridge. It's over here.
Wearing the hanged man now, are we? You know what that means? It means that if you ever cross Master Quentin, you'll be doubly sorry.
Well, fair enough. I feel like there's not a lot Quentin can do about that, but sure, whatever. I think this is the right way. You want to run? Sprint, that'd be lovely. Want to do all your little sprint you do sometimes? Thank you. Five gil, thanks, Kane.
You all right?
The hanged man. Thank the gods. You're one of us. We were attacked. Beastmen on the road. Randall knew he didn't play the hero, but the sod insisted on drawing him off.
Where did this happen?
Further down the road. In the clearing. Please. You have to see that he's safe.
I'll do what I can. You go back to Lost Wing and tell Quentin what happened.
Slay the beastmen.
Goblins. Why am I not surprised?
Oh, I like that ability. Didn't mean to do that, it's really annoying. And a bone necklace. Very little rhyme and even less reason went into the creation of this ghastly neck ornament. The bones strung along its crude twine most likely belonged to those unfortunate enough to meet its maker. Oh, he's dead. Kind of makes sense.
Sorry, Randall. Looks like I was too late. He doesn't deserve to rot by the roadside. I'll speak to Quentin.
Let's go speak to Quentin now. Let's go the correct direction.
But how did the grocer know his daughter?
Ah, there you are. My man told me what happened. And? I can't help but notice you're alone. Damn it. I feared as much.
He's not far from the south gate. I trust you'll do right by him.
Of course. I'll send someone right away. I knew he was brave, though I didn't know he was reckless. Poor fool.
And you known him long?
A while. I liked the fact that he didn't shy away from dangerous work, and he liked what I paid.
Because it helped keep the hideaway afloat.
I'll tell Sid what happened here. I expect he'll be none too pleased to learn of Randall's fate. And I suppose you're none too happy either. For your trouble.
Okay then, let's return.
I heard Otto barking at his lot earlier.
I'm not sure I'll keep the wisps or the wikes even. But I like the ignition.
Just own up to Otto and Sid. Well, there you are. I just got back to the hideaway and thankfully Otto hasn't seen me yet. I don't suppose you,
Found the things you dropped. I did.
I was so sure they'd be gone. And the letter?
Only a little worse for wear.
No more skulking about in the shadows for me, then. And all thanks to you. Losing those supplies is one thing, but if Sid had found out about that letter...
Is it about Cursebreaker business?
If only. It's from his daughter. She's off studying in Canver, and her letters are all that keeps Sid sane while she's away.
He never mentioned a daughter.
Oh, he's a busy man. And thanks to you, he won't be wasting his time smiting careless couriers with levin boats. So I'd say you did us both a service. Here, for your troubles. If there's anything you're wanting from Sid, today's the day. He'll be sweet as honey once he gets his hands on this.
Quest completed. Also, yeah, How old is Sid in like his 50s then? How old is Sid supposed to be?
There's a commotion.
So what God's forsaken corner of the realm is Sid dragging you off to this time?
Oriflamme.
The holy capital. And what business would you lot have in... On second thoughts, I don't want to know.
Oh, I bought one of these. Yes, now I remember. Presumably, specifically that one. Do I kind of want that? Maybe later.
Speaking of Oriflamme, I hear the trading routes leading south have seen more than double the usual traffic. If you ask me, somewhat foul's brewing. And it ain't Tyre's borbile tea. Oh, just go and see Otto, will ya?
All right.
Well, this ought to be good.
Clive, was it?
Hello.
Take a seat, Clive. I'll fetch you a bowl of brown. Young and so
Very well.
Good day. Or...
I had a little dot there, which means I'm leveling up, I believe. Level up! I'm an extant encyclopedia now.
Quite the find for you today.
Okay, the Continental Accord. An international pact made at the dawn of the present era, in which matters as the treatment of bearers and establishment of realm-wide currency were laid out. It forms the basis of much of Valestean society as it stands today, including the branding of bearers and their status as non-persons. Also puts in place a universal calendar marking the symbolic fresh start for mankind, albeit one which put magic users at a crippling disadvantage. The Founder. Fear and uncertainty reigned in those early years following the sins of the Zemeckis... Roger Zemeckis? Not wanting to further incur the wrath of the heavens, the few who survived the fall took to wandering the land, spurning magic and staying in the shadows. They lived for decades. One man, however, grew tired of his life, if it could be called that, and after bidding his companions farewell, climbed a grassy knoll overlooking a forest of beech and alder. Here he gathered a pile of rubble and used it to build a humble shelter. He spent the night. The next morning, however, instead of abandoning his work, as his people was wont, he gathered more rocks, adding to the structure until the shelter had become a shack. This he continued for days, the weeks, until the shack had become a home. First, those who wandered past the knoll would shun him, cursing the man under the breath for his hubris. But as his estate grew, one building became two, three. People began to slow their steps, and not long before that, some took to joining him on that knoll, gathering stones, building new lives, new destinies. This they did without magic or machines, without boon or blessing. They relied on naught but for their hands and their backs and their wills and each other. Slowly, house gave way to village, village to town, and town to nation. And the man would one day die, as all men do, but those who remained continued his legacy, expanding upon it. Though his name was eventually forgotten, spirit lives on this day in the hearts of all Rosarians.
You wish to study the tomes?
I guess I should go through these ones as well. Sid, the leader of the hideaway and dominance of Ramu, a warden of thunder in his quest to create a world where bearers and dominants can die in their own terms. You know, after shocking truth, it was so shocking that I guessed it earlier, that the mother crystals were the cause of all the consuming blight. Whatever. He makes plans to see the mothers fall, Valestere, and people might be saved. Mother crystals. Though the people of Valestere rely on the crystals mined from these mountains in their everyday lives and flock to the ether-rich lands around them in pursuit for the blessing, Sid posits that it's the fact of the crystals and their ability to draw ether from the earth. This is the reason for the Deadlands' advance. Few that learn the truth are hunted by those in positions of power, and those who power rest on their control of this crucial resource. The Holy Empire of Sambrique. Sambrique is the realm's largest theocracy and home to the Mother Crystal's Drake's Head. The Empire is ruled by the Holy Emperor and the one true goddess made flesh, according to the Gregorian faith, who is served unquestionably by the sworn knights of the Blessed Dragon, known commonly as the Dragoons. Yeah, fucking well hard to fight. Drake's Head, yes. I like that it's sort of... I think it sort of looks like the first... It looks like that screen as well. But I think that screen is actually people on a ledge, but it's sort of shaped similar, I think. To the point that they've clearly made the castle the same shape. So, Mother Crystal, situated on the Sea of Grace in the northern Sambrique, Drake's Head towers over the holy capital of Oriflamme. Its mighty form, a testament to the power and permanence of the Empire. However, mysterious ether of the floods and the spectre of ever-encroaching blight led some in power to call that permanence into question. Sylvester Lesage, Emperor of the Holy Empire of Sambrique, who won his throne at least partially by virtue of his son Dion having awakened as the dominant of Bahamut. The High Cardinal. First and foremost of the 5 cardinals who make up the Council of Elders, second only to Holy Emperor and his imperial government. It is his role to lead the council and government Sambrique in the government's emperor's stead, providing the latter does not overrule his decisions. His authority is absolute. We'll do one from each category, of course. Okay, fine, Dion. Leader of the Dragoons, the most elite warriors of the Holy Empire of Sambrique, who are the first to leap into the fray when the Empire finds himself under the threat. Often literally, Dion is the dominant of Bahamut, the Warden of Light. Firstborn son and loyal subject of Emperor Sylvestre, ruler of his Holy Empire of Sambrique, as well as the leader of the Empire's most elite fighting force, the Dragoons. Dion is also the dominant of Bahamut, Warden of Light, and oft called upon to summon his icon in defence of his countrymen, most recently in the year of the realm 873 when Odin took to the field against them in the Battle of Belenus Tor. Yes. Rosalith Castle. Towering. It is situated in the heart of the ducal capital of Rosalith. It's from the towering ivory fortress that the Archduke family rule for their nation. Architectural feat of the founder himself would be found proud of. The castle stood since the early days of the duchy and watched over the rise of this proud nation and the people who inhabit the city beneath. A well-armed Sambrique garrison has been stationed here since 860, when the duchy was annexed by the Empire following the tragedy at Phoenix Gate and the subsequent invasion by the Iron Crusade. First shield. Title given to the mightiest and most stalwart shield of the Rosarian army. First shield is entrusted with personal protection of the dominant of Phoenix and is gifted a portion of the icon's power over flame, a boon known as the Blessing of the Phoenix. Warlike yet surprisingly organised species of beastmen native to Ash have long been in conflict with the Warloders over control of the continent. They currently count the bulk of its eastern half as their own. However, the encroaching blight continues to eat in the amount of livable land, making this fight more territory even more vital. Why can't we see a picture of the orcs?
The door to the shelves shall ever be open.
There isn't a door, it's like an open area.
Do you need any help, Miss Molly?
I don't know. You could rinse and chop these greens for the stew, I suppose.
Yes, I suppose.
I heard Otto barking at his lot earlier. Didn't sound happy.
Don't mind me.
I was already in the right place. I am a fool.
Clive,
was it?
So you're really going through with it? Sid's been talking about bringing down a mother crystal since I've known him. But that's all it's ever been. Talk.
He's convinced it's the right thing to do. We'll be leaving for the capital shortly.
Well, you couldn't have picked a better moment. Seems the hiding the royalists gave him wasn't enough to dampen old Sylvester's spirits. His legions are on the march again. This time, due south.
Another war.
All as the great Grieger wills it. Bloodthirsty little miss, that one. But that's God's for you, innit? Still, might work to our advantage on this occasion. Wars breed chaos. On the front lines, and at home. With a fair wind behind them, a handful of like-minded ne'er-do-wells could melt into the back alleys of Oriflamme. No trouble. It's making it to the capital that's the problem.
The checkpoint.
That's right. Anyone travelling in or out of Oriflamme has to go through Northreach. Lucky for you, I might just know of a way.
This?
Well, no, not that. That gets you an audience with the Dame. And it's the Dame who'll see you safely through Northreach. I'll send the Stolas in the morning. Let her know you're coming.
That's a bird.
We go way back. And she's a true friend of the cause. I'm sure you'll get on like a house on fire.
That's good of you, but who is this Dame, and where will I find her?
Also, a bunch of my friends died in a fire recently.
Of Northreach's foremost house of ill repute, the Vale. And she's quite a woman, if you know what I mean.
A woman? Right.
No, I don't.
Blinding her with your charm now, lad. I'll be expecting a full report when you get back.
Oh no, the camera's escaping! Oh. Do we have a spy? Alliant reports on that. What the fuck's an Alliant report? Well, this is what it is, John. Alliant reports available for viewing. Speaking to Gort, the Alliant report counter the hideaway mess. These reports are compiled by the Curse Breakers, contain information on quest counter available across Alice Valisair. Not a spy then.
I suppose that's everything. Now to find Gav.
Oh, you're the new lad, aren't you?
I've been here a while. Who the fuck are you?
Service. Well, at the hideaway service anyway. Otto's put me in charge of reading through the reports sent in by our allies and picking out any problems that might warrant the attention of the Curse Breakers. Or any other willing volunteers. And there's no shortage of problems, I can tell you. Or maybe I don't have to. I'll warrant a strapping lad like you's got people begging him for help wherever you go. Anyway, if you're ever interested in taking a look over the list, just say the word. Reckon you could probably tick off the odd thing here and there. They say little acts of kindness are their own reward. But if that ain't enough, these have got proper bounties on them and all.
Yeah, sure.
Quick look.
Use Goat's Alliant reports not only to find new quests around Valisair, but to travel immediately to the obelisk waypoint to the nearest location. Okay, well, but I'd like to do two, to be honest. Like, I could do them both.
Ah, you're Sid's man, if I'm not mistaken. Couldn't trouble you for some assistance, could I?
You'd be Welsh with that name.
What do you need?
Some new bearers from Oriflamme just arrived, and it cost Master Quinton a pretty penny to convince their owner to part with them. Man must have been a bloody tyrant. Can't get a peep out of them, try as I might.
They're probably terrified of you.
You're probably right. Dare say it'd take a bearer like yourself to open them up. So, will you have a word with them? Help them settle in?
I can try.
That'll do me. Tell them they're safe, and that if they need anything, they just have to ask.
I'll let them know.
Appreciate it. They're sitting over there, taking a long overdue breather, looks like.
So you're the new arrivals. Is there anything I can get you? You're safe here. They don't punish people like us for speaking our minds.
Truly. I'm hungry. My sister too, we're starving.
Wait here. I'll fetch you something from the tavern.
Thank you.
It won't be long. You stay here and rest.
Oh, hello, Jill. Well, it looks like I can just get the other side quest as well. Yeah, I did the grocer, know his daughter. Oh, they were related. We've got so many things to say.
If you've something to ask.
Quentin.
Ask. What is there to know?
People never call me mayor, others master. The people of Lost Wing know the truth. As for my relationship with Sid, so I say that he and I share certain mutual interests which brought us together. His alliance is convenience, nothing more. I scratch his back, I scratch his mind. Neither of us lingers over long on the details. About Lost Wing.
When I arrived...
Lost Wing was no more than a collection of total... God, we paid by the hour, so, like, just a few words for this one. Huddled in the shadow of ancient hubris ancients. Ideal place in short, one of the... who sought to escape the watchful gaze of the Empire. Not until I had finished the survey of the neighbouring hills that I realised the true value of this place. Okay. So, you know that town that just burnt down that everyone was too afraid to go into? Surely people would immediately move there because of how the blight works. So, you'd immediately go, oh, there's free land. Fucking, we'll go right there. I don't care. Just, you know, I need food to eat and stuff. To wit, a most suitable environment to the growing of the wine grapes. It proved for our vintages now grace stunning halls of free cities to the frigid north.
It is a rare day.
And we are visited by the solid soldiery, even rarer when they hail from across the narrow.
For what?
An dominant that may or may not exist. Be it smoke or flame, no good has ever been had at grasping it either.
Now, if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Can I have another cup, Daddy?
I'll have 2 plates of whatever you're serving.
Sorry. We've enough mouths of our own to feed without tending to the wants of outsiders.
It's not for me. It's for some new arrivals.
Oh, my apologies. I didn't see the mark. So you're a comrade. Well, in that case, you may have whatever you require. Take all the bread and wine you want.
That's really all it takes. One look at the innkeeper's mark.
Of course it is. I do as Master Quinton commands, as do we all. And Master Quinton commands that none of his favoured guests be left wanting. Well, don't keep our new comrades waiting. Take what you need and see that they eat their fill.
Bread and wine!
Wine. Hopefully this will be enough.
Don't tell me. Turnips for supper.
Brother, did you see?
Yeah. Bread and wine from the tavern.
I don't have wine, but I do have grapes. While the loaf is slightly stale and the wine somewhat watered down, it will serve to fill an empty belly.
May we? Truly? Such plenty.
Never in all my days.
Brother, this place is like a dream. We sat and no one shouted. We ate and more was offered.
I know. I can't believe it.
You're free now. And the next time you're hungry, you need only ask to be fed.
I mean, there's probably some work involved. But...
For everything. Thank you.
What happens to us now, brother?
Nothing bad, I promise.
Excuse me.
But how did the grocer know his...
But how did the grocer cross the road?
Master Quinton will never forgive me if I don't save that crop.
Who do you sound like?
I want no trouble.
You sound like one of the young ones. Mike. Cool Mike.
Oh, glory to Grieger. You were the hanged man. I took you for a rogue. If you're a friend of Master Quinton's, then perhaps you'll help me. His vineyard, Lostwing's pride and joy, has been beset by a plague of giant wasps.
And you need someone to solve your pest problem.
I do indeed. I've never seen them so far from the forest, nor so mean for that matter.
Giant bees.
The smell's got them worked up, and little wonder. This'll be the finest crop we've ever known if the fiends don't eat it first.
Fiends? That's a different Final Fantasy.
Myself, but they won't flee from the likes of me. And if I don't bring those grapes in for pressing soon, Master Quinton will have my guts for garters. You look like you can handle that blade of yours. Will you put it to use for a comrade in need? Please.
Do they use guts for garters in this world?
About my business?
All right. I'll see to it.
Oh, thank you.
Would it be Chocobo?
Over at Gotan's bales on the edge of town.
Guts.
And hurry, Lostwing needs those grapes.
Whatever. Go this with him.
That must be the vineyard. A few wasps shouldn't give me too much trouble.
Fucking wasps. I don't know the last time I've seen wasps.
Excellent. Another fight.
Get over here, wasp. Wasps have been dealt with.
Looks like that was the last of them. I'd better let Quinton's man know.
But how did she know? How did the grocer know?
But how did the grocer know?
How did the grocer? I didn't know tongue could be used for so many things. How did the dog get here first?
Those wasps won't be interfering with your harvest anymore.
Oh, thank you. Master Quinton would have had my head if I'd lost the crop. I'd say you've earned a reward. Our Gotand Rouge fetches a handsome price among the rich and powerful of the realm. We use that money to keep our comrades fed and imperial wolves from our door. The vineyards were Master Quinton's idea. He wanted to give bearers a place to work, a place where they'd be safe.
Well, he certainly seems to have done that here. I'm glad I could help.
I'll see that he hears of your kindness. And once this vintage is ripe for drinking, there'll be a glass or two raised in your honour.
So, I was listening to a podcast. Oh, we leveled up. It's gonna help. And it's about border, the ice in America, the border, but the history of it. And one bit of it was how do I put this? So the border patrol were coming up with like excuses just to kidnap people and just shove them on the other side of the border, even though they were allowed to work. But obviously the local businesses had to fight them. But the thing about the local businesses was they essentially had like very, very cheap labour, so there were basically no goodies in this situation.
Turnips for supper again.
And he's turn up his nose at that prospect. I believe there's a quest like... Oh, we can just go there. Martha's Rest. So that guy... He just replaces a map button.
The tavern. It's done for. I've seen your face before. You're a friend of Martha's. Help us, I beg you.
Help you with what?
Bandits in the Golden Stables. They're waving their swords around. I think they're gonna kill someone. When I saw what was happening, I slipped out the back. I should have stayed, but... Oh, please help them.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I'll see to your problem.
Thank you.
How many were there?
I was out of the door too fast to count. They looked a nasty bunch, though. Be careful in there, all right?
Ha! Golden Stables, my ass. All Martha's hiding back here is coppers. Oh, that's a fine sword, friend. Heavy, though, I expect. What say we relieve you of it? Get him, lads. I want that blade.
Let's get this over with.
Don't let them get away.
It's sort of weird to be using these abilities on just bandits.
I'll be keeping my blade, thank you.
There he is, the hero of the Golden Stables.
People will think twice about pushing us around again, thanks to you. We're lucky you were nearby. No Good cowards wouldn't have dared set foot in the place if I'd been here, of course.
But you weren't. I thought you told me you had someone watching the place.
The Blood Axes keep an eye on the tavern, yeah. When they're not busy keeping the peace, that is. I've spread them as thin as they'll go. The Empire might be in charge, but that don't mean they care to keep us safe. If it weren't for the Blood Axes and me, merchants won't come near these lands for fear of what might happen to them.
I see. Then you do Rosaria a great service.
Just as you did today. You're a useful man to have around. Here.
And there'll be a mug of something tasty waiting for you whenever you next stop by.
Right, we've got work to do to make this place presentable. You best be going, before I arm you with a mop.
I mean, I'd mop very quickly. Okay. Yeah, so in what context?
There he is, the man of the hour. You're the one who saw off the bandits, aren't you? Martha was singing your praises. Takes a brave man to march into danger out of the goodness of his heart. You have my respect.
A Rosarian salute.
Oh, what is it they say? Old habits die hard. I trust you won't be reporting me to the Viceroy. If we'd had a few more like you about, perhaps the Rosfields might still... Listen to me rambling on. Thank you again, and, take care of yourself.
Yeah, in what context would you be able to go to the lair and not know of the side quests?
Well, 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 someone's in a hurry.
Just following orders.
Funny, I never took you for the type.
Can't all be as obedient as you, Gav.
I was a slave for 13 years, what are you talking about?
Fine day for a little mischief, wouldn't you say?
Is this all of us?
Actually, Gav won't be coming.
Just the three of us, then?
Drakeshead is the keystone of the Empire. Oriflamme's in chaos, yes, but that doesn't mean we can march an army through her gates. The fewer our numbers, the better our chances of going unnoticed. And should that plan fail, well, we have our icons to fall back on.
Sid, I don't know if I can. Ifrit still seems to come and go as he pleases.
Ordinarily, priming an icon comes naturally to a dominance. But then, you are no ordinary dominance.
Well, he's still got the blessing of the Phoenix, doesn't he?
Not to mention what he sucked out of Garuda.
That was a weird way of putting that.
I'll tell you about how he was once the greatest shield in Rosaria. You know, I reckon he could probably cause a path out of the capital on his own if need be.
Let's try not to find out.
We're less likely to be spotted if we travel separately. I'll meet you in Northreach in a few days.
Are we the oldest Final Fantasy characters in ages as well? I mean, they had sort of had their cake and eating it there by having them both be an adult and a teenager, but still, I'm sort of not used to them. It's nice as a grown-up, getting to play as grown-ups, even though they all look kind of, you know, youthful anyway, but whatever. But back to Lost Wing again. Well, had I known, I would have done the side quests at that point. The party makeup has changed. Oh, it's just the two of us.
So, we're meeting in Northreach.
Why is
Will I find Sid and Jill before this dame finds me?
There we go. Almost there. I think this is the smart way of doing it. Not weird the map lied to me though. Clear view.
There. Northery. The soldiers used to speak of a brothel. But that was north of the checkpoint. I hope the dame has friends in the south.
That guy's powerful squat energy.
A moment, my lady.
A moment? I doubt you could afford even that much of my time. Branded.
My mistake.
No, mine. Upon reflection, you don't have the scent of a branded about you. The flowers. Otto always did know how to please me. More than Sid ever did anyway. Do you think you could please me, Clive?
You're the dame.
Let us leave such impersonal titles to my less preferred clientele. You can call me Isabel. Otto assured me I could trust you. I can trust you, can't I?
You can trust me, yes, but why would you?
Help you? Because that's what we do. Long ago, Sid did me a kindness when no one else would. I have never forgotten that. Without it, I would not be where I am today. And so, I make it a point to do the same whenever possible. Which brings us here. To the final obstacle between you and whatever it is you seek in the holy capital. I fear the guards are not likely to let a masterless bearer pass unmolested. Unless...
Unless...
Unless, of course, his master deigned to appear. Yes, that will do nicely. But I shall expect a favor in return.
Wait, what?
You say these are all from Dalmekia?
Are you gonna buy something or not?
Do you see anything you like?
No. No, I don't. Oh, buy a clamshell. Been cut and polished to spiny opal teeth. No, I think we've hit that one already. Very expensive music.
I'll be here if you need me.
What the hell are you doing?
Tut tut. We cannot have people thinking I tolerate disobedience from my branded.
The men who gave me this are no more my masters than you are. But it's not as if I can hide it.
From the moment you acquired it, that brand has done naught but take. But today, it is going to give you exactly...
We did this with Jill earlier, it's fine.
Just play along.
I need to put the grapes closer, don't I?
Back to the Vale already?
But of course, we must make ready to welcome you, my dear.
And who might this be?
Why, my new escort. The streets aren't safe for a girl, what with all the royalists about.
Well, don't work him too hard.
Well, that rather depends on you now, doesn't it? I'll see you all at sunset.
Oi, hold up. Another fucking branded. Well, you're lucky you're with the dame. Now get out of my sight, filth.
That wasn't so bad.
Wasn't so bad. They might have recognized me.
But they didn't. And even if they had, they wouldn't have done anything about it. The gentlemen of the garrison are some of my best customers. We have an arrangement, as do you and I. Now, if you'd care to follow me, we can speak more at the Vale.
Doesn't seem like I have much of a choice.
I haven't seen you around the Vale of late. Oh, don't tell me you've grown tired of us.
And if anyone requests her company, tell them she is feeling unwell.
Madame, you look stunning.
As do you, my dear.
Shall I have one of the girls draw a bath?
That won't be necessary. Clive, my darling. Welcome to the Vale.
This is a castle. Oh no, I was allowed to bring my dog with me as well. Pet the dog!
After it!
Yeah!
Thank you for seeing me through the gates, my lady. I am in your debt.
Well, that was the whole point, wasn't it? And I told you, it's Isabel. Whatever wound you so tight, I wonder. It's certainly not Sid's influence.
Hey, I was a slave for 13 years.
You, mentioned a favor. What is it you'd have me do? I don't want to keep my companions waiting.
If you mean Sid and the girl, you needn't worry. They have yet to reach the checkpoint. Yes, Otto asked me to help them as well. But to answer your question, I need you to find someone for me. One of my girls. Tatienne has been gone for several days now, having left no word of explanation. And I've begun to fear the worst.
I feel as if I've spent my whole life searching for people. Though I can't say I'm any good at it.
I trust you'll do your best. Oh, and take this.
The moon and stars. I've got. He's just looking like.
Trust. And
he's got all his Pokemon badges.
From looking too closely at that handsome face of yours. Now, I have matters to attend to at the Iron Flagon.
If you find anything, ask for me there.
What was it? The Flare. I'm trying to think of that film where Jennifer Aniston had all those badges. That's what he looks like, all the flair.
Should probably start here.
Greetings. You are one of the dames chosen, I see. Me. I am but a nameless weaver of song, who would warm the hearts of the good folk of this town with such humble cloth as the muse might permit me to make.
Play a song! Dog, look, meet the dogs! Ooh, look at that. What's that?
Sergeant's got it in for us two. As if either of us needs to brush up on our swordcraft. Where's your commanding officer, Branded? Don't you know the training grounds are for real soldiers?
Hey, you lost or something? Sorry, but the Imperial Guard's got no use for your kind. The infantry always needs more bodies, though.
I'm just passing through.
I don't bloody believe it. The bastard's wearing the moon and stars.
That'll be why he's strutting about like he owns the place.
The dame laughed when we offered her our protection. You reckon this prick's really worth a couple of the Emperor's finest?
I dare say there's ways of finding out. How about it, Branded? Care to show us how you earned that brooch?
I'd rather not.
Oh, no doubt. Only chivalrous souls that we are. Robin and I need to know the dame's being properly looked after.
Fine.
Fine. If it'll put your mind at ease.
Oh, and just so you know, I won't be holding back. I suggest you don't either. Take a moment to get ready if you need it. Wouldn't want you whining about an unfair fight.
I'm ready.
Now, let's get the measure of you, shall we?
If that's what you want.
Cocky bastard. All right, let's be having you. Oh, and when you go crying to your mistress, tell her it was Leon who gave you the pounding. Use all the dirty tricks you want, Brandon.
Use all the dirty...
All right. So you know one end of a problem from the Fuck me.
What the hell are you playing at, Leon?
He has magical powers.
So it's a real challenge he wants, is it? Fine. Sword up, bearer. Let's have some fun, shall we? Not a bearer. Win the dame's favour anyway.
I know when to hold my tongue for a start.
You got potential. I'll give you that.
I've got potential. Presumably I missed a load of dialogue.
Krieger's gash. The bastard didn't even break a sweat.
The dame's man or no, he's still a branded. Best hope the sergeant never hears about this.
Yeah, not after the bollocking he gave us for missing drills. Might be the old sod had a point.
I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, good bloody riddance. At least we know the dame's in safe hands, I suppose.
Do us a favour. If you have to tell the dame about this, tell her we got a good few hits in, eh?
Heard the bones fell favourably. To the Vale, then.
I don't know how a bearer came by the moon and stars, but thank goodness I found you. Can I trust you to be discreet?
About what?
About this. About what I wish to ask of you. About the fact that I, a humble creature, assist the Dame of the Vale in her endeavors. As unlikely as it may seem, there are those within the upper echelons of Samberquois society who find the Empire's treatment of bearers to be barbaric.
All right. But what do you want from me?
This town is carried upon the backs of its bearers, and yet many would see their servants starve. Not for the want of coin, simple fare cost little more than a pittance, but to revel in the suffering of others, a simple act of cruelty. Contemptible though it is, my countrymen would sooner cut off their noses to spite their faces than see their bearers fed. And despite my best attempts at secrecy, my efforts to dole out comestibles have been noticed. Which brings me to my request. The brand upon your cheek affords you a certain freedom. A freedom I could sorely use.
Oh.
Fine. What do you need me to do?
Oh, thank you. An extra meal may not seem like much, but it will make all the difference. Here, deliver these, but keep them hidden. Quickly now. What food I can provide goes where the need is greatest. And today, that happens to be the barracks. 3 bearers, overworked and underfed, not permitted a moment's rest.
It's no wonder so many die before their time.
Tragic, true, but do not let anger make you careless. People will view this act of mercy as an undermining of the Empire's authority. Be discreet for both our sakes, and for the sake of those we feed. Oh, and when you're finished, a word in the ear of one of the Dame's girls would be appreciated.
You won't be staying then?
I'm afraid not. I'm expected back in the capital, and have already risked much speaking with you this long.
Okay, grips.
Crystal's curse is bad enough. We can't let people starve as well.
Oh, there's loads of side quests here.
Excuse me, you there? The gentleman with the I cannot help but notice you bear the moon and stars. So you are an associate of the Dames? Might I trouble you for some assistance? You'll be rewarded, of course.
And who exactly would I be assisting?
Oh, forgive me. I am Etienne, a humble merchant, though fortunate enough to count the Dame among my acquaintances. I have business beyond these walls, but the guards have grown somewhat suspicious of my comings and goings of late. I was hoping someone might be kind enough to go in my stead. And who better than someone in the employ of the Vale's proprietress? Would you be willing to help a fellow in his hour of need?
Sure.
Why not?
Marvelous. The task is simple enough. Pass through the gate and deliver packages to a few of my most valued clients. There are 3 in total: a grocer, an apothecary, and a distiller. You need only mention that the items you carry are fresh from the master's table.
Nothing dangerous, I hope.
Why, of course not. Merely trifles which folk beyond the checkpoint are keen to get their hands on. And though I cannot prevent you from peeking, I advise that you don't. Strongly advise.
Too many grapes. I was being greedy. 3 heavy purses. Do these ones first. How about that?
Think I might see you tonight?
Where is the mother crystal? Oh, I see it. It is quite big. Oh, we're not done picking up quests.
You look like you need a rest.
Oh, it's the food.
Not half as much as I need this. Thank you. I don't eat it here, though. Not where anyone might see.
Has it always been this bad?
Oh, it was worse before the Chamberlain. I'd be dead without him. Me and many others.
That's something at least.
Are you waiting for it to heal on its own? Hurry up!
Looks like now's not the time. I have something for you.
From the Chamberlain. Thank you. You need to leave. Now. Please.
Branded! Who told you to rest? Stoke those damn flames! And you! If you've got a message for me, out with it. If not, return to your post.
Right, yeah, I'm assuming the third... a worse thing gonna happen to the third person?
Get it, boy!
Enough! Curse you! Get away from me! You'll work faster next time if you know what's good for you!
Here. It looks like you need it. The Chamberlain must have sent you, but alas, my work is far from over.
If I don't go now, they'll beat me.
You need to rest.
But I won't. I've wounds to heal and bones to mend.
And what of your own hurts?
They'll wait. As will my hunger. Thank you, though.
A drover has more regard for his cattle than the Empire does its bearers. Anyway, I'd better head to the Vale.
That bastard!
I am, but not for the quest. Hee.
All right. Are you here for business or pleasure?
Business, though not my own. The Chamberlain put me to work delivering food.
Ah, so he found someone to help him then. Just as well. I hear his friends back at court have been taking a little too much interest in him of late.
So he really is a Chamberlain.
There was a time when he was the Vale's most illustrious customer. Us girls thought of him as a generous uncle. He was one of the only people round here who seemed bothered by the way the Empire treats its bearers.
Rare for one in his position.
A fact not wasted on the dame. A little nudge from her is all it took, and he became the patron saint of Northreach's starving masses. My sisters and I may have lost an uncle, but bearers are being fed for a change, so we don't grumble. Much.
Glad to hear it.
Gives you faith, though, doesn't it? To know there are people out there like him. And you, for that matter. It's no wonder the dame's got a soft